Hello, my name is Rachel, and today I'm going to take you through creating my custom RPG character sheet. As you can see here, I already have what I want the sheet to look up set up. Um, so what I mean here, let me rename this. So what I mean here is that I turn what the D&D sheet or whatever you're using for a template, I've already kind of put here what I want it to look like. So I've got all the information up here that the players would fill out. I've got my stat blocks over here. I've got bonds and ideals and everything over here. I have weapons and items here. We'll get into what these two are later. It's actually kind of fun. So, the weapons, I have the spells and how many I want the characters to be able to have access to. Abilities we'll get into later, character background, character information, we'll get into this and this a little later. So, I pulled a lot of inspiration for this sheet from the different D&D rules, different versions of it. I used World of Darkness, I used New World of Darkness, and then I added a couple things that I just said, we're gonna have it. Actually, so if you need help setting this up, it's a lot of just merging. It's a lot of just merging and let me name this actually right quick. Let me pull that back up again. It's a lot of merging blocks and bordering blocks. I like to center a line and bold some text. Your stat blocks are over here. You have armor class and initiative, and you have custom role systems. That's what these are. This is what I like to call a smart sheet, which means it will roll and fill in most of this information based on a couple of selections. Item blocks, spell, description blocks, I kind of showed you those before. The big things you're going to want are two sheets. One is the behind the scenes magic, which we will get into, and I hope you're ready for a long video. And we have the character sheet that actually the players will be able to see, because this one will be hidden. A lot of what's going on in the background and what makes the sheet smart happens on the information page, not on the character page. There are formulas here, but everything that the formulas get their information from is on this sheet here. Yeah, you're going to want to include a space for modifiers. I actually have 2 spaces for modifiers. We'll get into why I'm doing that later. But I think that's all I really need to tell. Oh yeah, and I center a line and I bold some text. I feel like I said that already. So the formulas you're going to need, there are a couple of them, and if you don't know how to use them, I will kind of barely be able to explain what they do. There are a lot of resources out there that tell you what exactly a lot of these do, but I will try to explain as much as I can going through them. So we have the indirect function, the vlookup function. We'll doing some data validations, which are basically just drop downs. If statements, meaning if this equals this, then have something say this. And just is if and or are usually used grouped together. And we're going to name some ranges. So I'm going to show you guys what I want. I'm actually going to split the screen here. Don't you like my background? So here I have my game book. If you're interested in playing my game, my Discord will be in the description, as well as a finished copy of this sheet. I think it's going to be a really fun game. So in here, I have the history, the different cultures, and what we're going to do now is put races. I'm not going to include the sub-races yet. but I have quite a few races and a lot of these are homebrew, and just things I made up on my own. But I did pull quite a few. Dragons are kind of dragon-born. Elves, I changed a little bit. I added some fae, gnomes, halflings. Halflings, I want to point out right now, are not hobbits in my game. They are half one creature and half another creature. Vampires, werewolves, angels, demons, dragons. We have a lot of them. So let's take here and put them all in. Angel, demon, dragon, dwarf, elf, fae, halfling, human, merfolk, vampire, werewolf. I think I got them all in one go. I forgot gnome. And the nice thing you can do right now is insert a robot and put gnome in here. Now, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but just whatever races you want, you put them here. So I'm going to format, insert data. I'm going to name this range. This is going to be race. I don't know what that is. Okay, so then I'm going to go and okay, so you'll see so this is going to be a drop down. Let's actually go to this drop down right now. And so what we're going to do is, let me just remember how I'm doing it. This is a refresher for me as well as teaching you guys how to do this, so bear with me just a second. No, I can kind of get rid of that if I wanted to. So this will be, so I'm going to use the indirect function. And what that's going to do is it's going to say, okay, I want this to equal, or I want this to equal this block. So indirect, and you can just put that parentheses, and then you can click on what you want it to be, close parentheses. And what it just did here was I had a named range. So that named range, what it does is see, this is not just a word, it's also a named range. That's why I have it what it is. So it just kind of returned the range. All right, so we're going to do our first data validation. These are all the races that you can have. And what this is going to do is create a drop-down. So you're going to enter a range here or a formula, and you're going to select all of these. That here, and what that should do is you can pick from any of these. Don't click and add anything yet. We're going to get back into this. So, like I said, I'm going to have half races. Half. So what I'm going to do is basically take these again. Angel. I'm going through it again so I don't put halfling. If I can spell today. Let's say gnome, human, merfolk, vampire, that's why. That's why, because I don't need this up here actually. So what I'll do here is, this is going to be a named range. You don't need to necessarily have what it is up here unless you want to just make sure everything is in order. Like you just want to be able to see what you have. So this, I'm going to highlight, data, named ranges, make this half. Okay, So, this is where it gets interesting. Why do I keep clicking? So, we're going to do an if function, and we're going to do it twice. So, equal sign, it always starts with an equal sign. If, oh, no, wait. If this equals, and you have to have it in quotation marks and exactly how you had it spelled before, quotations and then a comma, and then you're going to say, if it says, if this equals halfling, say half, and if it doesn't, say nothing. Okay, so then that's that. We're not going to do anything here yet, and then we're going to do the same thing here. What is that, Q2? Halfling, say half equal or nothing. Okay, so let's just make sure this works. So, if I want halfling, these will say half. I just want to make sure that I have them. I want these all bolted up top here. Okay, so let's go through. Halfling, these pop up. If I want it to be an angel, these go away because it's an if. If this equals something specific, this will show up, or it'll have another function. So that's how you use the if function. That's how you use the if. Now we're going to go through, and my favorite part is coming up with synonyms for the word type. If I can spell. So I want to have the dragons. So I added a couple here, I think. Blue, brass, bronze, copper, gold, green, red, silver, white. Okay, so I'm going to name this one, this range, it's going to be color. Okay, so that's the color dragons that we have available. And then we go to elf. And that would be drow, high, and wood elf. And this is where we have to pick different words. Because if we just kept it type, because these are all going to be named ranges, and they all have to be different names if you want the correct range to be returned in the data validation. So you can't have type, 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 because it'll return the first type that you mentioned, that's named. So then I'll do air sprite. I think this game is going to be awesome. So if you're interested in playing, I will link the game, the Discord, and well, my Discord in the comments so you can talk to me about it. This will be, I have done so many of these Excel sheets. I want to also say that this is how I taught myself Excel. I watched a couple of YouTube videos and this is what I did in my free time. My boyfriend at the time was not happy that I spent all my time doing this. I just want that. Named range, species. We'll put species. No, I gotta be missing something. I'm not. I thought there were more that I had to go. Okay. What am I missing? Let me just go through this other sheet and make sure I'm not missing anything. We'll go through all of this. Oh, okay. That's it. So we'll go through I think I have everything named. So let's go through this. If this equals half, these pop up. And I didn't do data validation here. So let's do another data validation. I guess here we don't need to have an indirect function. We can just have this. Half that. So this will show this is half any of these, and we're going to have the same exact data validation as the other one. This range here. So you can choose half gnome, half human. But what if you want half dragon and half elf? Because that's going to be awesome. Well, there's got to be colors. You want to pick the half color, like the dragon color, and you want to be able to pick the type of elf. So this is where the if function and longer functions or formulas come into play. This is a little time consuming, but it pays off. Okay, so let's start. If this equals dragon, say color. And okay, and then so this is if it goes like this. If this equals something, say this. If it doesn't equal something, do something else. Okay, but we can stack these if functions inside of each other. So, and if it doesn't say dragon, maybe it'll say if this equals elf, we'll have it say type. And again, if it doesn't say that, maybe it'll say if Q3 equals Faye, say, I don't even remember what it was. Oh, crap. All right, so we're going through, I don't know about species, I think it was. No, type, color, type. Did I not name that one? Maybe I didn't name that one. I did not name that one. That's why it was too easy. That's why it was getting too easy. Because I didn't have that. So we're not done with this yet. If they say kind, if it says if, and you always got to have the parentheses. Equals alpha fa. I think the next one is merfolk. Which equals species. And then you have to put at the end, if it doesn't equal anything like that, just leave it blank. Okay. So we're going to do something very similar here, except it cannot, you should not copy and paste this formula here because you need this. If this equals a specific thing, say this. Okay, so let's go through. If this equals dragon, and why am I adding both? Because maybe you want half elf, half dragon instead of half dragon, half elf. It'll make sense, and I think you'll be shocked with what I can do with this. Say color. If Q5 equals elf, say type. And you want to have the commas on the outside, otherwise it's going to say, okay, you're looking for a phrase that is type comma rather than just the word type. If Q5 equals say kind if it's merfolk, I think. If Q5 equals say species, and if it doesn't say any of that, put out, put all the parentheses. Okay, so we're going to do another indirect, which is going to lead to a data validation. So let's do the first indirect. So we're going to have indirect. Now remember, we have these all named. So it's indirect this. And then it shows the colors because we named the range color, and this is the word color, this is going to be that. And already I'm going to make this data validation. You'll see what happens in a second. So I'm going to, the reason I'm waiting, the reason I am using the dragon one as example, because it has the most. Okay, so we're doing that. And let's say we want it to be half dragon, maybe want it to be a half merfolk. Species, what shows up? This, because this changes, it's magic, if I do say so myself. And half elf, we want to do the same thing here. Human doesn't have anything that was a bad example. Let's have a half dragon. It says color, but there's no data validation. So we are going to have a second one, which is indirect P5. Maybe that wasn't the right one. What is this? Oh, N5. Indirect character N5. And if you're doing it manually, you have to say, hey, I want it on this sheet, exclamation point. I don't know why the exclamation point. Maybe not N5. What was it then? N6. That's right. Indirect character exclamation point N6. And it'll show that. And again, dragon has the most, so I'm going to use that as an example so that it gets all of the possible functions. So we're going to do that. We're going to go here to here. And again, dragon, this will change. So this will change to dragon, this will change that. Elf, it will change that. Oh, why? Why? Why did that do that? That is wrong. Okay. Let's see what I did here. Why? Type. Did I actually make this type? I did, which means this is. Oh, did I not do this? That's species. That's type. And this is why we do this. What do I want to do? I'll make this sort, I guess. And this is why we do this. Did I really not do elf? I'm a little confused. Let's go to name ranges. Half is kind. Kind. Ah, it's because that is actually that. There we go. And that should change that then. Type. So type point. that should be. Name ranges. Because this needs to be that. All right. So let's check. Let's check to make sure that is correct. Why is that still not correct? Let's see. That says Faye. This is kind. What's that there? Yeah, that says elf. This is type. There we go. It just needed to be redone. So everything is good here. Now I'm going to delete, 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 and see how these go away. Let's see, I just want a plain old human. That equals half, let's put a half. And that is indirect of that. That shouldn't say anything. Oh, because I didn't have it like that. That's why. So we're actually going to change this data validation so it doesn't pull up anything. And we have this named as half. So what I'm actually going to do is another indirect. If I can spell. Indirect of this. Indirect N3. Okay, now this is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like, hey, there's nothing there. That's what the reference is. There's nothing to reference. N5. Okay, so that means there's nothing there, so what is it going to reference? So let's make this dragon again. Let's make that dragon. Oh, half, so that shows up. Okay, so I want this data validation and this data. Hold on. This is not going to be that. It's actually going to be this first one here. I guess I can make it both. No, can't make it both. So it's actually going to be that. And this data validation is also going to change to the second one, which is, I don't know why I made two, but we're going with it. This should change it. So it's not going to show up the half races no matter what. Delete this, which is just backspace or hitting the delete button. So if this says human, this doesn't have anything, which means you can't, there really is no subspecies of human. There are different subraces, different ethnicities, but I'm just going to simplify that and have the different skin tones here. And the next thing we need to do is describe the races. And this is going to go down in character information. So this is going to be an indirect again. Q2. Okay, I like to specify Q2. No, okay. Direct. This is actually going to show, what I want it to do is show this. Why is that not doing anything? That's cute. Oh, because that's cute too. I don't want it to say indirect. I want it to just equal it. So I'm just using the equal, so I want what's in Q2 to show again in this box. And then I want this to equal that. this to equal Q4, this to equal Q5, and this to equal Q6. Half, 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 sub, sub, Q2, Q3, Q5. Ah, that should be Q5. Goes Q6. Okay, so I want to double check to make sure this works. So I'm going to fill in all these boxes by choosing half, halfling. This is a null. Actually, let me choose dragon and fairy or something. Oh, that would be an interesting combination. So this, oh, that's my mother. So all of these are filled in. Why is that one not filled in? Say, fire spray should equal Q5. This should equal Q6. Q6, I thought I did that earlier. Okay, so all of these are filled in. What we're going to do is have a brief description of the races for each race over here. And then what we need to do next is have the alignments and have them described over here. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. So we are going to put the alignments in, which means we have to create, what is it? Another named range. The named ranges for now are going to be our friends. Eventually we stop using them, but we're going to keep using them for now. So let's go here. Actually, let's see. I like to leave spaces here so everything is kind of like together. So lawful good, lawful neutral, lawful evil, true. Excuse me. I would love to play a chaotic good character. Or, yeah, chaotic evil. Chaotic good would be fun to play. So this, we're going to name alignment. Name range alignment. And we technically didn't have to name it, so let me undo that. Because we don't need to name that because it's not going to change. It always is going to be alignment. So we don't need a named range because this is not going to change. So let's do a data validation, that, and that is going to be from here to here. And as we can see here, this is going to stay the same, so we can choose these here. And then this is AJ. Let me just make sure. We'll get into the spells and the abilities later. But I want to just do this first. Equals AJ. EG6. AJ5. I don't remember what it was. AJ5. Oh. Yeah, it shouldn't do the same. Because there's nothing there. So, because I didn't choose anything, nothing is showing up. So let's do neutral good, for example, and then over here, this should say neutral good. So what I'm going to do here, like I said earlier, is have brief descriptions of this. This is going to be the next thing we really got to do is a lot of vlookups. I think, let's see here, what other things do we need to put up here? Yeah, the next thing really is a lot of vlookups. So let's go through that. That's going to be fun. Okay, so we'll just go straight across. We'll do the stats last or close to the end. No, we don't have to do that. No, we're good. We can do that. I have specific stats for each. Oh no, that's later. That's that box over there. So let's go through and do some VLOOKUPs. Actually, for this down here, that's a VLOOKUP. Yeah, okay. I just gotta remember what I'm doing here. Don't mind me. So let's do, so these are gonna be what the different stats are gonna be. These are the modifiers. Different modifiers. But right now, that's armor class, and this is what we want. These are the modifiers that we want. So I'm gonna put them over here, and we're gonna see what happens. Okay, so each one is a VLOOKUP. My dog is being crazy. So let's do VLOOKUP. So this is, I want to search this, whatever this is, take from this range and return what exactly. I want it to return the second row, and I want it, and it's in order, so it's gonna be false. So let's put a 2 in here. That's gonna say -4. And we're basically gonna do something very similar through the whole thing, just changing what this is. We're looking up what this is, going here, returning that, and it's in order. Otherwise, there's a possibility it won't return what you want it to. I want to finish this and then I'll talk to my dog. Two false. Okay. Look up that from this column. Two false. My dog probably has to go outside. You can wait, small dog. That. Look up that in this and see if that matches anything in here. I want to return at the second row, and it's in order, so it's going to be if B34 on the character sheet equals 25, it needs to return 7. That doesn't match anything on this list. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so let's go through here. Let's put this at a 6. Let's put this at a 9. Okay, so it's returning everything correctly. All right, one more second here. So now that we have done the VLOOKUPs over here, it is time to do some more VLOOKUPs. Let's do armor class. I think I'm going to keep them the same over here. Let's do here. And we'll get into what this is over here in a little bit. So that I am going to copy. And let's see here, paste over here. So this is these are our armor classes. Angels, dragons, stuff like that. So and we're not gonna have 2 different armor classes. Halflings just get 1 armor class. So we're going to VLOOKUP. We're gonna VLOOKUP what this says. Go here on this table, return the range 2, and it's in order. So return what I want it to. So halflings, do they have an armor class of 12? They do. Initiative, that's a roll. That'll go over here, I guess. What else do we need over here? Initiative we get to. I want to do, I guess it's time to do XP. So, I'm using the XP chart from here. And we'll see exactly. Let me do that for now. I'm going to use that and go here. Oh, not bold. This. I remember how to do this, I promise. Just want to double check to make sure I'm doing it right. Ah, okay, so this one doesn't need a false. Okay, so we're going to look up this. How much XP do you have? And then we're going to put if it's between, let's see, so I want to return something within the third column here. Now, the 0 XP, you're level 1. I try to make it so you don't have a level, but I think you're supposed to start out at a level. So it says here that what I fear is that if it says 0 or 299, it's going to be that. What about any values in the middle? Well, let's go with it. Let's try. Let's go to 14,000. Let's go to 14,500. That's what I wanted. 14,500. It says level 6. Is it supposed to be level 6? Yes, it is. So that works. Okay, now we're back at level 1. Let's see here what we're gonna do next. I'm not done with spells yet. Haven't really explained the abilities. I'm going to come right back once I have finished explaining what everything is on the info sheet so we can do a couple more vlookups, okay? One moment, I'll be back in a jiff. So I've gone ahead and added some things, a lot of vlookup type things, and I'm going to show you a little more of the vlookup and exactly what I'm doing here. So let's see. I added some, let's see here, weapons. I'm not adding spells yet because I'm not done with that yet, and abilities. And we already have the character information. I'm going to delete that. All right, so that's all good. I'm going to delete that. So we have a blank. I'm going to let my people, my players have a couple different weapons, but they have to earn the later ones. I just have to find the weapons where I put them. I did put them on here, I know that much. There we go. So those are my weapons. So here's a drop down of all the weapons. I'm going to, they can have, yeah, because that's that. Okay. They can have, I'll let them have 3 weapons, but they have to earn the second 2. And then the rest, and this will be like the description, and these will be items and stuff. Alright, so 3 weapons. I think that'll be enough, right? That should be enough. And then I want to have vlookups. VLOOKUP for this. I want it to check this range and return 3, and it's false because I want it's in order. Okay, and these NAs I don't know how to get rid of. So you'll just have a bunch of NAs on your thing here. But once everything starts to get filled out, it'll be a little easier. So let's check. Okay, so that works. Well, let's look up that. And this range, and you can do this, you can do a couple different things. So the only thing I did differently here was this was the range I chose, and I wanted it to return column 3. This is going to be used later. Actually, what am I doing? We'll go back to that and see what's going on. Okay. So let's do a couple more vlookups here. Let's do. How did I do this? How did I do this? Give me a second. Okay, that's how I did that. That's how I did that. It's gonna be. Okay. That's that. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to here. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. Okay, so it's a couple more named ranges here. So that'll be Angel. Oh, I want that to be Angel. This is Demon. You'll see why I'm doing this in a minute. Dragon. Dwarf. Just make sure I have it. Okay, that's that. Okay, I should do this the other way around. Sorry for the silence. I'm focused. So I'm doing this so that it'll have a little more of the indirect function available. And pure. All right, we saw that. So, okay. So let's have that be indirect of this. Okay, so let's change this to gnome. Let's change that to gnome, and it'll show the these are all abilities that their race grants them. Okay, so that's that. Which one has the most? I think vampire does. Okay, so we'll go down to abilities, and this will be indirect, and this will equal this. This will equal no. Equal that. Oh geez, I'm like messing up here. This equals that. This equals that. This equals that. And the reason I'm using the vampire is because the same reason I use the dragon is because it has the most options, so it'll go through better. Yeah, that should be enough spaces. Okay, so, and then what I'm going to do is another vlookup. VLOOKUP that. And so we're finally going to use this. We'll return column 2, and it is false. So that should return that. That. It should return any of these. Okay. So these will return the descriptions of what these are. It took me forever to figure out how to get all of these listed. I went through like so many different ways, and this is just the way that I found the easiest. It took me, I've been making sheets like this for about a year, and I finally figured out how I want it to happen. Oh, excuse me. So I'm just finishing up this. Again, it's just adding the description. And you can do whatever you need to here. These, like I said, this is just my custom sheet, and I'm showing you exactly how to have all of the things. I went ahead and I obviously added a lot more, because you guys didn't need to see me like type all this stuff up. This is kind of where you take what you want. There we go. Okay. So then we're gonna do, that's that. Excuse me. That'll be half that, half that. So I gotta do that too. Okay. Indirect that. Indirect that. Okay, so let's go through and make all of these just so I have everything. Obviously, in the game, you wouldn't have a half vampire and a half vampire because that just wouldn't make sense. So we're going to go through and do, I hope I have enough space. Yikes. I think I should. We'll find out, won't we? Equals. And again, we'll do the same VLOOKUPs here. And I think I should have this. Oh yeah, I'll have enough space. And that'll equal that. Oh yikes, I don't have enough space. Which is where this will come in handy. So I need at least 7. Seven of those. So this is actually not going to cause a problem. Believe it or not. This is not going to, as I learned, mess with any of the formulas. And I'm so grateful that it doesn't mess with anything. I'm just going back through and merging again. So you may be thinking, well, how does it not mess with anything? You have these things down here. But see, just because you changed the formula, the placement of the formula, does not mean it changed anything else. It's still done good. And again, we're going through, and because you can be half one thing and half another, this is going to help. And then I have to go back through and add the vlookups, none of which can be the same because it is a different thing we're pulling from. See, we're pulling from different blocks each time. So we've got to do this over and over again. Oh, that's right, I forgot to do a thing. VLOOKUP that. There we go. That's what I forgot. And the sheet will tell you, like, hey, you done something wrong, or you didn't do something, you missed something. And it's not that helpful, but, once you kind of get used to it, and once you get used to doing the formulas, it does kind of get easier to see what you messed up or didn't do. I shouldn't say messed up, that's so mean. What error you had. Error is a nice word. So we use the if. I don't remember if I use an or function or an and function in here. So those may not be necessary to know. I just use the if. And one of the things you might notice that I did in here, if you happen to see, is grams. This is why we spell check. See, each one has a different name because I think I may have mentioned that if it's the same one, it's just going to pick the first one it sees. It's not going to pick, so if I have 2 flights, it's going to take the first flight that it sees, which is this. But I want dragons to be able to fly longer, for example. So again, we're going through. And this does get a little tedious, but believe me, it is so worth it at the end to see the sheet come together. I will go ahead and create an NPC based on this. We still got to do those. I will pause the recording and come back when I have all of this filled out. Actually, no, you guys can just watch this because I'll be doing something else in a second when I'm done here. And again, it's gotta be a different square each time. And I'm sure once we change the races, everything will work out. You will have a couple NAs. That's the only problem. I don't know how to get rid of the NAs. Oh, shoot. That. I like that they kind of color coordinate the, you know, like this is purple, the other one was orange, such and such. Look at that. So that is orange. That's the first thing you need. This is the second thing I'm adding to the function, the formula. This is something else. Okay, look up. I'm almost done here. And then we do something else. I promise it'll be fun. And then we'll get to the different rolling parts of this, which I kind of cheated and copied probably the hardest thing over. Well, not the hardest, just the most tedious, because I did not feel like doing that again. I might have the formula in the description so that you can just take it and use it multiple times. That. Oh, that actually will work, all those. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so let's change this to dragon. And it'll have all those. It'll have those, it'll have that. And let's say I want to make this half fae. Halfling, half fae, and a half elf. And we want to have the different kinds. So fire, and elf doesn't have anything, so let's use something else. Dragon, bronze. So we have those, but we don't have anything else. So how am I gonna do that? That's okay. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, I didn't think about that. Oh, that's how I can do it. Okay, awesome. I'm going to look up this up here. I'm going to go to this. Those are usually the ones with... These are the only ones that have special abilities based on the subrace. Okay, so this should do a thing. Okay, yep. Okay, and then we'll take that, do another vlookup, and do that. And again, it'll be false. Alright, so that should create my friends listening in. That both says fire. Let me change that to silver so you see that it's different. Okay, so that'll be that. And then we'll do another vlookup. The sheet has a lot of vlookups, so do that. We'll vlookup that. Look that value up in here. Turn that. That's that. There we go. And we'll look up that. Also in this. And then that'll show that. Alright. So I think we have everything that needs to be in here. I'm going to take another break and then come back and we'll show you how to do the rolls, which probably are the most tedious things to do for a couple different reasons, so I'll be right back. So I went ahead and filled out a couple more things, quite a few more vlookups, and then I forgot a couple things over here. We'll get into that. So these things over here, they're extra modifiers given by the race that you chose. So for instance, an angel will get a disadvantage, like a -1 charisma, on top of this modifier given by the stat score, if that makes sense. So that happens all the way down. I have different ones here: intelligence, strength, wisdom. So now we get into the rolls. Let's see here what I can do. All right, so I went ahead and did some data validations. I think we did earlier for these. And let's do a dagger. So this is all fine and dandy, you know, that tells the damage. But let's go into how we roll. I'm going to start with the damage and do the data validation for that. As you can see, these were added. These were just indirects. And you always want to include the reset, and I'll show you why. Because these numbers change every time you hit something. You type something, it changes. So therefore we have to have a reset every time we want to roll something. So we have all of this stuff here. What the hell does it all mean? It means that for a 1d12, it picks a random number between 1 and 12, and then a sum between these two, because every time you roll, if you want to roll damage, you have to roll 2d12 or something. You have to roll it twice. So we just sum up these two all the way up to 20d12, which I will include this long son of a bitch in the description if you want to do a smart sheet that rolls for you, because it is a bitch to try and make sure you have 20. And then we have this here, which will be, let's see how I'm going to do this. So this is going to be a random between 1 and 4. This is a rand between 1 and 6. It's also a rand between and 6. Between and 6. And these are just the weapons and the different things that I've come up with. 6. And as you can watch over on the other side here, this keeps changing every time I add something. 8. So that's why the reset is important, because that reset value is equal to 0. As we can see by this up here, this equals nothing. 1 and 8. Rand between and 12. So if you're rolling like a 20-sided die or something, or a 12-sided die, this will automatically roll that for you. This will be your rolling. And then I'll get over to what's on the other side of this in a second. It's a little more complicated to a point. So this is all just going through. 6. 6. And 8. and between 1 and 8. Alright, so we will take this. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to vlookup this, because that will change. Turn value 3 and false. Look at that. Here, and 3 false. You'll kind of see. That's why. Okay. Instead of Q, it actually has to be R. That's why. And then, so this is taking this here. This is taking whatever this is, finding the generated number here, and doing that. So this is all of our damage that can be done. So we will take that and we'll look up whatever this is, find it in here, return column 2. It's going to be false. I will actually border that so it's easier for people to see. So let's say I want to roll my crossbow. Picks a random number. 72 picks a random number. Okay, and then reset will just make it 0. And then the rolling for anything else is kind of fun. So let's do data validation here for that to keep an eye on the time. So this will all be rolled, and the way it's going to be done is kind of neat. So that's everything you can roll there. So let's go through and do a rand between 2, rand between 1 and 4, 6, ten, 12, and 20, and then rand between and 100. Okay, so we have that. What do we do here? We do, I forgot to mention we need the sum. So I'm going to take the sum of a rand between 1 and 20, comma, to add something. And we're going to take our 2 modifiers and add them in. So we're going to take this and this and add it. So because we don't have any of these filled out, you can't generate these numbers, which means you cannot generate an answer here. So and do that. And between 120, so that, so that. Again, NA. This is dexterity. So that. And then I believe initiative is also just dexterity, but so I'm just gonna copy that, paste that there, because it's the same thing, at least to my knowledge. And intelligence modifiers. Adding the modifiers. This and this. Okay, so got all this. And we have a reset. Let me see what else we need. We're getting towards the end here. The only thing I haven't added are the spells, which, because I'm not done with it. So let's do that. And then do F. We need the vlookup. That's what we need. Oh no, that's not where I want it. VLOOKUP. Here. Here. 2 false. So there's my D100. There's my D20. Can't be done yet. This equals 19 because it's initiative roll. And if it doesn't, just leave it blank. Here's our roll initiative. Go. Yes. And I'm going to do everything but spells to show you guys how this sheet works. Be a dwarf. My alignment is neutral evil. 500 XP. I don't do this yet. Shoot. Oh, I didn't add all my armor classes. That's right. Give me a second, guys. I forgot to add everything. Oh, it worked. Okay, well, there's that. HP, I forget what HP is. At least for my game, it's HP. HP is... that and that. Okay. So, HP is... this, this, this. Okay, so how about hit dice? This was actually pretty long. How many hit dice they'll have. So that's how much later. That's that. Let's roll some of their stats. D20. Let's make that a 7. And then we'll make that a 16. That's my next one. 10. 10. 15. You can put these wherever you want. I'm just put these on a sticky note on the side here. Actually, I'm going to do big, maybe put that 18. So we can see the numbers better. Okay, so we have all of that. So we have our HP, we have our hit dice. And we'll have to pick our weapons. Along because I'm level 4, I'll have access to 2 weapons. So let's roll our cornerstone, and that's the damage that's done. Let's roll 6 to 12, that's how much damage is done. That's a lot of damage. Oh, we have to reset that because otherwise that changes every time. Let's roll our strength. That is that roll. Let's roll our dexterity. Why are these so high? Okay, it's going low. Roll curious. Okay, so it does give low numbers to it. They were just lucky rolls, I guess. And then you'd fill out all of this, and then you have all of your abilities down here. I didn't put in door. I didn't do the descriptions of the races yet, so that will be that. I didn't do the lookup here. This is what we go through. And turn to false. We have that. And then I will put in descriptions for the races at another time. I'm just trying to find a way to I just gotta find a way to describe them. Describe them easily. Describe them quickly, I should say, which I could take it from my thing, but I don't want to. And that's basically the sheet. I will have a read-only copy available in the description. If you choose to download it and use it, let me just get rid of all this stuff so you have a blank sheet to work with. And there we go. The thing I didn't go over is this. This is just so if you want to roll something, you know exactly what you're rolling. Alright, I think I've gone over everything that you need. Everything else, the character description, that'll all be filled out. You're good. Thank you for watching.